Hello again. This is Math 2 115 coming to you from the College U page, and the title of this lecture is Matrix Manipulations in Excel. And as always, please be an active learner as you watch this video. Now I'm going directly to Excel, and what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to multiply matrices in Excel. So up here you see that I have a 4x4 matrix, which is A, and this in fact can represent a relation, for example. And here I'm going to have a matrix D, which is also a 4x4. It's a square matrix, and that means I can multiply these two things together. This will be a light green matrix. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how do I multiply matrix A times matrix D. And I can do this because the number of rows in A is the same as the number of columns in D. So I'm going to put that right down here, and I'm going to use the XL function, which is called matrix multiplication. It is MULT. Okay, so I'm going to click this, and I get a dialog box. Now here I'm taking A times D this way, so the array 1 is going to be A, and array 2 is going to be D. So I will put the green in there, and then I will say OK, and you see if I multiply a 4x4 times a 4x4, I get this, and this is the matrix A times D. And I'm going to use some kind of coloring on this too, I suppose, just to be able to refer to it, and I want to use light coloring, so I'm just going to make it slightly gray. Okay, but now I'm going to take D times A. So I'm going to go over here again. I'm going to use the same XL function. This is MULT. But this time I'm going to use, for array 1, I'm going to use D. And for array 2, I'm going to use A. So you see I'm multiplying these matrices in the separate order, and I get this. And if you look at these two things, you can realize, let me color this in, I suppose. And so what you realize is that, what colors haven't I used? Maybe a blue. Okay, so now you realize that these two matrices are not the same. So matrix multiplication is not commutative. So that is one important thing that you learned from this lecture, as well as knowing how to multiply matrices. Now, one of the things that we learned in the chapter about transitivity is that there's a matrix test for transitivity, which requires you to square the relationship matrix. So A actually has zeros and ones, and you can look at A and you can see it is reflexive because the diagonals are 1, and you can also see that it is anti-symmetric, but it is not symmetric. So you have those features, but we want to test to see if it is in fact transitive, and you have to square A. So we're going to square A, and we're going to put that answer right here. So we're going to square A. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the XL function again. We're going to multiply the matrices, but this time array 1 is going to be A, and array 2 is also going to be A. And I click that. And so that is what A squared is. And from A squared, you can determine if A is symmetric or not. Now, one other thing that I think it will be useful for you to know is how to find the inverse of a matrix. So here is matrix B, and we're going to invert this, and this is going to be the inverse of, well, that's A squared, but C is going to be the inverse of A squared, or the inverse of B. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to the functions, and I'm going to use matrix inverse, this function. Again, I'm going to use my dialog box, and so the matrix that I want to inverse this time is this one. And so I click this, and now I find A inverse. Now, when I multiply A times A inverse, I'm supposed to get the identity matrix, which corresponds to 1. And so I'm going to put that here, and we're just going to multiply them. So again, this time we're using not the inverse, but the matrix multiplication. And so we're taking A, or B, I guess, what I'm calling it. So I'm taking B, and the second one is going to be B inverse, and I'm expecting to get the identity matrix. And in fact, I do. Now, the identity matrix is then the matrix that has 1 down its main diagonal and zeros everywhere else, and that corresponds to 1. So this is the discussion about matrix multiplications using Excel. You should expect that I might test you, even in a proctored exam, in your ability to do this. So make sure you understand this from your book and also from this, this video. And now, more than ever, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. And now, more than ever, take care of yourself and of each other. May God bless you all.